Have you ever sacrificed a knight, rook, and queen in one game? Hello, everyone. Today we are going to look at another brilliant game in which almost every piece was sacrificed. The game is titled the Evergreen Game due to its everlasting beauty and impact on the game of chess. This game featured Adolf Anderssen and Dufresne. Prepare for the greenest brilliance of your life. Quickly, before we start, please like and subscribe, and I have created very in-depth annotations of this game for you to check out after watching this video. Link in the description. The game starts with e4, e5 and knight f3 with white attacking the black e5 pawn. In the opera game, black played d6 to defend the pawn. But in this game, black plays the best move, knight c6, developing a piece and protecting the pawn. White now develops his bishop and prepares to castle. This opening is called the Italian game. Black copies white and also develops his bishop and prepares to castle. Here, Anderssen plays the move, b4 sacrificing the pawn. This is called the Evans Gambit, and White's idea is that he will sacrifice a pawn to develop his pieces quickly, control the center, and start an attack. Black takes the pawn and White plays c3, attacking the bishop and preparing to play d4 with great control of the center. Black retreats the bishop, and then White pushes his d-pawn to gain space in the center. Black now takes the d-pawn, and White would love to take back, but he can't because the c3 pawn is pinned. White, therefore, castles and is now down 2 pawns. In this position, we say that White has compensation for the 2 pawns. In chess, compensation refers to the other advantages that a player has in exchange for material. In this case, Black has 2 extra pawns, but White has better central control, is already castled, and will have easier development and attacking chances. Currently, the 2 pawns equate to White's compensation, and the position is still balanced. Both sides will now try to build on their advantages while negating their opponent's advantages. Black now pushes his pawn, trying to give away one of his advantages to slow down White's development and reduce his central control. Anderssen plays queen b3, ignoring the pawn and instead building on his development advantage and attacking chances. The f7 pawn is now under fire. Black develops his queen and defends the f7 pawn. White now plays e5, trying to sacrifice the pawn. This type of sacrifice is called a decoy. A decoy involves luring a piece to a bad square. White tries to interfere with the black queen's defense of the pawn and tries to decoy the knight to e5, after which rook to e1 will win the knight. Dufresne does not fall for this and instead moves the queen, but still keeps the f7 pawn defended. White now improves the rook and puts it on a file where it may attack the black king in the future. Black now develops his knight and prepares to castle. White then develops his bishop and questions if Black still wants to castle, as if Black now castles his knight would then be pinned. Black plays b5 with the hopes of sacrificing a pawn to catch up in development. White takes the pawn with his queen, and then Black responds with rook b8, developing the rook, attacking the queen, and taking control of the open file. In chess, an open file refers to a file with no pawns on it. It is generally a good idea to put rooks on the open file as they will have the most scope and activity. White moves his queen out of the way and applies pressure to the a5 bishop. Here, Black would love to castle, but they cannot due to a tactic taking advantage of the overloaded c6 knight. An overloaded piece is one that is defending too many things, and it is forced to give up something. In this case, if Black castles, then the c6 knight becomes overloaded, as it is defending both the a5 bishop and e7 knight. White can then just take the e7 knight, forcing the c6 knight to take back, and White can then take the bishop and is up a piece. This is why Black retreats the bishop, and White then develops his knight. Dufresne develops his bishop, and White centralizes his knight. We have spoken in a previous video about how knights want to be in the center as they control more squares. Card in top right-hand corner. Black now plays the very senseless queen f5, which doesn't do anything and just wastes time. White now takes the pawn with the bishop and sets up a discovered attack on the queen. A discovered attack is when a piece moves out the way, in this case the knight, to reveal a previously blocked attack, the bishop seeing the queen. Because of this, Black preemptively moves his queen out the way. White now sacrifices the knight with knight f6 check, trying to take advantage of the pin on the e-file. Black takes, and then white takes back, and now the knight is being attacked and black cannot move the knight due to the pin. We spoke more about pins in this video. Top right-hand corner. Black now improves his rook and pins the g2 pawn, essentially meaning that the knight on f3 is hanging. Anderssen, instead of defending or moving this knight, plays the brilliant rook d1, setting up a nasty attack and leaving the knight to die. Black takes the knight, and Anderssen follows up with another brilliant move. You can pause the video to try to find Anderssen's second brilliant move. In this position, Adolf Anderssen played rook takes e7, sacrificing the rook to continue the attack on the black king. Black takes the rook with the knight, and in this position, and I ask that you pause again to find the third and most beautiful brilliant move of this game. Here, Anderssen uncorked the lovely queen takes d7, sacrificing the queen for a forced checkmate. Black has to take the queen. Earlier in this video, we have spoken about discovered attacks. Here the rook is in line with the king, and white just needs to move the bishop to give a check with the rook. Only one bishop move wins. See if you can find it. In this position, white played bishop to f5 double and discover check. A double check is when a king is checked by two pieces. It is the most powerful check as it cannot be blocked, and the king is forced to move. The king goes to e8, and now Anderssen plays bishop d7 check, and after king f8, the game ended with the beautiful bishop takes e7 checkmate. I hope you enjoyed this video, and check the description for further analysis of this game. Now go promote some pawns.